Okay, so this is chapter 6, lesson 3. You should be in 7th grade if you're watching this. So scatter plots. Your objective is to make and read scatter plots, to identify and draw lines of best fit, to interpret data sets as having positive, negative, no correlation, and to recognize trends in correlation data. The table below is a schedule of auto insurance costs for young drivers. Insurance companies charge different amounts of their insurance coverage based on research studies that report the risk of accidents by age group. How can the data be graphed so that you can analyze the relation between the driver's age and the cost? Okay, so driver's age, if you're 16, your cost of insurance is $1,900. If you're 18, the cost of insurance is $1,850. If you're 20, the cost of insurance is $1,800. If you're 22, the cost of insurance is $1,700. If you notice, the older you get, the less the cost of insurance, and that's actually true. They think that you're more responsible. I mean, it also depends on if you've gotten in wrecks before, but if you've had none, then this is actually pretty true. The older you get, the less your insurance will be. So you can analyze or interpret this data best by making a scatter plot. So today, before the school day was over, I gave you a little foldable, and it's probably colorful. And on each one, I know it's backwards, but it says scatter plot. And when you open it up, you need to cut where the dotted line is, and inside I want you to write the definition of scatter plot. You will have a vocabulary lesson on this in math class, or maybe in language arts, depending on if Miss Lake will be there or not. We'll be able to administer it or not, but we'll have a quiz on all of these words. So, again, you need to cut along the dotted line and then write the definitions. It might also be helpful if you drew the picture. So, a scatter plot is a graph with points that are plotted to show the relationship between two data sets. The two data sets have one-to-one correspondence. That is the same number of data in each set, and data in each is in any relation. What you need to know is this sentence. A scatter plot is a graph with points that are plotted to show the relationship between two data sets. If you don't understand that, then that's not going to help you. So if you want to, you can put it in your own words. If you understand it in those words, then that's fine. Data points are plotted on a coordinate plane using ordered pairs. However, the points cannot all be connected by a line. And that's where a line of best fit comes on. So to make a scatter plot, draw a label and axis for each set of data. Commonly, the dependent data, insurance cost, the values that result from the corresponding on the other set are scaled vertically, and the independent data, driver's age, are scaled horizontally. So what it means is driver's age is not dependent on the insurance cost. The insurance cost is dependent on the driver's age. It's chilly. He just opened the window. Okay. Graph the data 1 point per ordered pair. So when you're 16 years old, you pay roughly $1,900. When you're 18, you pay roughly between $1,800 and $2,000. And if you go back to the slide before, it's actually $1,850. When you're 20, you pay $1,800. When you're 22, you pay $1,700. When you're 24, you pay $1,500, and so on and so on. So these points are just graphed on this line. So to interpret the data, draw a straight line that comes as near as possible to as many points as possible. This is called a line of best fit. I know that some of you learn about line of best fit whenever you are doing Science Olympiad, because I taught it to some of you. This is the line of best fit. You need to have a ruler in order to do it. You just draw a line somewhere in between your points, and not everyone is going to look exactly the same, but that is your line of best fit. A line of best fit is a straight line that best represents the data on a scatter plot. Again, you need to write the vocabulary word, line of best fit. I know it's showing up backwards, but I know you know how to read. And follow directions, and then have the vocabulary, have the vocabulary written on here, the vocabulary definition. So what is line of best fit used for? Use the line of best fit to determine how, if any way, the two data sets are related. So if they are related, then that means you can draw a line of best fit. If they're not related in any way, that means that you can't draw a line of best fit. So the scatter plot above shows that the driver's age increases, the cost of auto insurance decreases. So if one increases and one decreases, we are going to learn about what kind of scatter plot that is. This is a lot of talking, I know, and a lot of writing because of your vocabulary words, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. So, okay, I know a lot more vocabulary words. A correlation describes the relationship between two data sets. It is a trend or pattern of change that is true for most of the data. The three scatter plots show the types of correlation that two data sets may have. So, a positive correlation occurs when both the y and the x coordinates increase. So when they're increasing, that means it's going to be going up. The line of best fit is a positive correlation. So a negative correlation means that the y coordinates decrease as the x coordinate increase. So that means one increases and one decreases. And what happens is you have a negative correlation. Okay. Reese?
I take back my...
Okay, so a negative correlation, I just went over that. No correlation is when you can't draw a line of best fit. It occurs when there appears to be no obvious or predictable trend that connects the two data sets. So this is an example of no correlation. I know I said that I would like you to draw, if you can, draw examples in on your foldable I gave you. So your example doesn't need to look exactly like this for positive correlation. A positive correlation example can look something very simple like this. So here's my graph. I have a bunch of points and they're all going up. And then I have a line of best fit, and I know it's not straight because I can't use a ruler for this. This is an example of positive correlation. It doesn't need to have all of the other information on it. It just needs to be so you can visually see it. Negative correlation, that means that I have points and they're trending down. So that's a negative correlation. And then no correlation would look something like this, just random. Don't have too much fun with it though. Okay, make a scatter plot. Tell whether the data sets have positive, negative, or no correlation. So in order to make this scatter plot, you should have graph paper, and hopefully I didn't forget to tell you that you needed graph paper, but if I did and you don't have any graph paper at home, fear not, you can do it on regular paper. So if you were to make one, you would have to label your X and Y axes. So you need to figure out which one's dependent and which one's independent. If it is dependent, that means that it relies on the other one. If it's independent, it doesn't rely on the other one. So calcium and diet and number of fractures. If you think calcium and diet is the independent one, then you're right. So that goes on the bottom, on your X axis, and then number of fractures goes on your Y. Okay, and then you would label the bottoms, and I know you know how to make graphs, and then you would plot your points. And once you do that, you should be able to tell me if it's a positive correlation or no correlation. So that should be pretty simple for y'all. Number 2, discuss and predict whether there would be a correlation between the following mappings of data sets. I'm going to do one with you. Fuel used in a building and outside temperature. So you need to figure out if there is even a correlation. If there's not, then you would just put no correlation. So fuel used in a building and outside temperature. It would be a negative correlation because as temperature decreases, heating fuel usage increases. So, for example, if it's really, really cold outside, that means that you're using a lot of fuel in your house. So that means there would be as outside temperature increases or decreases, they say, because it's getting colder. If it's getting colder, that means it's decreasing. That means inside the building, typically for a heater, I'm sorry, my daughter's loud, fuel used in the building will increase. So if one's decreasing and one's increasing, what does that mean? That means you'll have a negative correlation. Negative correlation. So that's A. I want you to try and do B and C and explain your reasoning for each relation. So height of a person and that person's spelling test score. Think about it. Amount of snow and elevation. Also think about that one. So correlation, no correlation, negative or positive. I hope that you enjoyed this lesson, and I hope my daughter wasn't too loud for you to concentrate. Tomorrow I will answer any questions that you have. And, yep, I hope you enjoyed.